Ugh. Hiya! Derek, I'm in a pickle. I'm looking to buy a home, but don't know if I should rent or sell my old home. Thoughts? Benny factor? This is a very interesting question and an intricate one to answer. So I've got two parts I'd like to go over for this, but it's more fun when we go somewhere else, so follow me. Hey there. The world is your playground. Is that why we're here? Is that why you took me here? I get it. Makes sense. I want to go over two parts, two things that I think you need to think about that seem pretty simple at the time, but can be very intricate. This answer can go in real deep. So the first part that you need to think about is, does it make sense for me to rent my house? Right? Your second part is, does it make sense for me to sell my home? So first part is, does it make sense to rent my home? Well, there's a lot of factors that go into what that means for you. What are your goals? That's what I want to go over with you. So first and foremost, we're going to set up an appointment. It's going to be a rental/listing appointment. And that's where I bring in all the information. That's all the guts of what makes this smart move for you. If it makes more sense for you to rent, it's because you might want some cash flow. And I'll go through all of that with you during that rental time. But if it makes more sense for you to sell your house where you may need that money or that cash on hand to go into your next property, that's the way to go. All right, so as a part of part one, does it make sense for you to rent your property? What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring into that appointment some documentation. I'll run some CMAs, which we talked about in a previous episode, comparative market analysis, and what that's gonna do is give me kind of what the rental rate is in your area based off of your bedrooms, your square footage, etc., to find out what that number is that we can rent your house for. So what you wanna do is also think about your home's value. So I'll bring that with me as well. So what is your home worth? So for instance, if your home's kind of in the range of $75,000 to $200,000, that is a prime rental spot. Anything above that, it just kind of depends. So what I say is if this is your first home, it very well may be a good rental. It just depends on the price. It also depends on your market. That dictates a lot as well. If you're in a really hot market, your price might be a little higher, which means your rental rates will be a little bit higher, potentially depending on where you live, which brings me into the next part. Do you live next to a school that's highly desirable, that school system? Do you live next to amenities like malls or any type of shopping center or restaurants or any of those things? Do you live close to those things? That's gonna help dictate, is this a good rental or not? All right, part two, does it make sense to sell? Well, so if it's your second home, most likely it will make sense to sell, because typically what you do is you'll move from a smaller home to a little bit bigger home, depending on your family size, if your family is growing. But if not, it might also make sense to rent. But if it makes sense to sell, here are some key things to think about. Do I need that money or that equity from this house to go into my next home? Typically on a third home, you're upscaling your house, right? You're going to a bigger home, your family's growing, etc. Unless you just want to do rentals straight through. That's another episode for another time. But do I need that money to go into my next house? If that's the case, selling might be exactly what you need to do. So another thing that I have is people moving out of state. Right? So if you need to sell your home and move out of state, some people don't want to be out of state managing their property, and they might not want to pay somebody like a management company to manage that property. So it would make sense for you to go ahead and sell it, especially so you can take that money to help with expenses on the move or potentially buy one that you're going to when you go there to your next state. So you have two options. Does it make sense to rent your property or does it make sense to sell it? Do you want that cash flow? Do you need that cash flow? Is your property a prime rental property? Or does it make sense to sell? Does it make sense for you to take that money, use it for your next property? Does it make sense for you to go ahead and move to the next state and sell that property? And we'll find out if that makes sense when we go over that during our rental and listing appointment. Really? Guys, thank you so much for coming and joining us on another episode of Smart Moves. I love talking about this real estate stuff, if you can't tell, probably because I'm a realtor. Side note. Also, if you ever want to come back and see more episodes, we're just going to continue to do this every Monday like we've been doing for the past year. I'm excited to see you next Monday. If you guys have anything that you want us to talk about real estate-wise, leave it below in the comments. We want to hear from you. We want to talk about things you want to hear about when it comes to real estate. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you guys soon. Super tight, but it's fine. Geek Squad's back. I can't sit side. Oh yeah, I can. Hey! Hey! I know that guy.
Oh, do you really?
Yeah, it's Rob.
Oh, you made that up.
It's Rob. Rob Stevens, seriously. He did our Geek Squad install over here. How do you do it again? Aren't you supposed to do something specific?
Like this, yeah. But you should do D's. That looks weird.
Yeah.
Other way.
I'm sorry, but I'm gonna have to cut because I have to figure out what I'm gonna say first.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
I'm fat as a watermelon! All right, am I good?
Yeah. So what I would do is I just hit the bullet points.
Sorry, I just love waving. I don't know what's happening. What's next?
I can't use any of this.
That's fine. So you have two options. Does it make sense to rent your... So you have two options. Dang it. Let's go over that really quick again.
No.
What are you doing? All right, you ready? Okay.
That same thing happened to me at
Wait, am I still supposed to be sitting down?
yeah.
Like, for real?
Yeah.
Oh, we got to do the outro. Oh, I thought we were just doing... I'm sorry. I'm an idiot. All right. Have you been waiting for me to start talking the whole time?
No, I've just been recording what you've been saying.
The F was that?
What just happened?
Ow!
Something
It just landed on my finger. Switch in music! Now I gotta get my belt and make sure everybody sees I just won. I'm at the gym doing this. Yeah! My wife's back here on the bike. She had no idea I did it. No idea.